In this video, I want to share with you the top 5 things I learned from reading the book The Alchemist. Now, this book is very, very well known. It's sold tens of millions of copies, and I didn't read it for a while because I thought it was super long. Turns out it's super short, which was awesome and also kind of crazy because apparently there's so many like hidden meanings and stuff in such a short piece of art. It's a parable, and it's kind of weird because it's this story and you're supposed to learn lessons based off this parable. It's not always explicitly stated how you can use this advice. So because it's gotten so much attention, obviously there's all sorts of opinions all across the board. And so you get people who hate on the book, say it's this hippie book, doesn't do anything, and you get people who really love the book. So let's get to the first thing I learned. The first thing I learned is that this book is very, very helpful for people who want to change their mind and look towards a different mindset. And this is the mindset that successful people like Jim Carrey and Will Smith use. Both of these individuals have this specific mindset that's constantly mentioned throughout this book. It's probably the main theme of the book, which is that if you want something, the entire universe conspires to help you get that thing. Now, do I personally think that this is true? I think you can't take this too far. Personally, if you have some really messed up kid who has these weird, screwed up intentions, and he wants this thing, does the whole universe want to help this guy, do something horrible, like kill someone? Probably not. That's probably not what the universe wants, or nor should anyone hope that the universe helps that guy do that thing. However, I think this can be applied towards your success. In fact, that is what is, it's basically how Will Smith and Jim Carrey live their lives and constantly talk about. In fact, if you watch any speech by Jim Carrey, that's all he talks about. His main goal in life was to be a successful, well-paid actor. And he used this whole idea, law of attraction, and this whole thing of the whole world is helping me to achieve this. And I think, long story short, this mindset helps you succeed because it shifts your perspective from other less helpful perspectives, like you want to just give up because you think that the world's against you or whatever else. And I think there's something hidden to this. So I'm going to use this myself in my pursuit of more fulfillment and happiness and financial well-being. The second thing I learned is that when you seek things, sometimes the gold is already close by. And there's plenty of quotes very much like this from many different sources if you're into this wealth creation or self-help world. I am a lot, so I've heard a lot of these. One of them being you're walking through a desert and you're starving to death and you're thirsty, but if you only knew that if you just cut open the cactuses, there'd be a flood of water. It's the basic idea that there's many business opportunities and money all around. You just have to open your ears and eyes. And then there's all sorts of other analogies very, very similar to that. I think there's more to it than just opening your eyes. I think you have to learn about business and you have to learn how to monetize certain things and figure that out, not just open your eyes. But I think the mindset and thing that you should take from it is that there is plenty of money everywhere. The world is at its most profitable time. This is the most profitable age of humankind to ever exist. I said profitable weird. It's the most prosperous, profitable time in the history of humankind. And I'm going to use that mindset, which again, it's not the easiest thing for me to internalize, but I will. In order to succeed even further, because rather than complaining like a loser and saying, oh, you know, I'm broke, the world's in a terrible place, I think to myself, it is the most profitable, prosperous time in the history of the world. Everyone is doing so well. We have all this technological advantage and advances that weren't there 50 years ago, let alone 100 or 1,000 years ago. I'm going to succeed. We can now do things that we couldn't 50 years ago. We can talk to people on the other side of the world. So use that. Number 3, the third thing I learned from The Alchemist is that stop looking afar for your big break. Sometimes it's behind the curtain. Now, this is something that's debatable, but this is a huge theme in the book, and there's a lot of similar stuff out there. There's this very well-known essay I highly encourage you to read called Acres of Diamonds, and it's the same basic idea. You know, they go on this huge journey, and the protagonist spends his whole fortune to, you know, travel the world in search of diamonds, only to find when he dies that the biggest acre of diamonds was buried underneath his backyard. And the basic idea behind that is so many of us are so, and I'm guilty of this myself, we're so concerned of things far in the distance. Oh, I have to travel to California to be an actor. Oh, I have to go far away and do this to succeed. That's not necessarily the case anymore. And especially with the internet nowadays, you can kind of succeed more or less from many places. Is it still strategically better to move to certain cities depending on your industry? Possibly. But you know, use that advice for specific situations. At least consider it, because sometimes if you overlook the diamonds in your backyard, you can rush off. Again, just think about it. The fourth thing I learned from The Alchemist, sometimes you just have to listen to your gut. You know, there's certain things that were kind of weird about the book, and, you know, strange. There's this one point where he gets pretty much scammed hard, and I think it's just a whole lesson in the fact that you have to listen to your gut and listen to people that are your mentors and you respect. Because if you don't, and if you don't trust your gut, bad things can happen. And it's just a reminder that there's bad people out there who will do you wrong. And long story short, there's this point in the story, spoiler alert, where he kind of gets scammed and loses a ton of crap. Not crap, like a ton of money, because he didn't trust his gut. And he got screwed over really, really hard. So just keep that in mind. It's a simple thing, but it's really, really true. I see it all the time. I recently know of this guy who lost a lot of money because he didn't understand website development really well, and he paid like a lot of money just to build a website when he could have just paid like $50 for it. So it was a pretty sad story, but there you go. The fifth thing I learned from the book is that, you know, again, trust in the fact that all things will move you towards your maximum success. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily sit back and go make a sandwich. It means if you look at it from a mindset of, I'm going to get there and the world's helping me get there, but what can I do to succeed even further? How can I work really hard? How can I put in the work and strategize and figure it out? How can I improve that progress? You trust in the journey and it'll get you there. Now, the fifth point, I'm a bit skeptical of, because I'm one of those skeptics regarding this mushy-gushy, like, trust in it stuff, because guess what? There's a ton of people who are playing Dungeons and Dragons and League of Legends and video games and whatever else, and they're like, I'm just going to trust in destiny, and then 50 years later, they don't have a girlfriend, and they're still broke. So there's more to it than just trusting in that. You have to have strategy and stuff like that. But I don't think it's completely off base. I think there's something about the fact that if you have a certain mindset towards success, it helps you succeed. I think there's certain levels of understanding the positivity of things, and it changes your mindset when you believe that you can do it rather than you think you can't, so you quit, or you don't think you can be that person, so you quit, or you whatever else. You don't think the world is helping you, so you get very bitter and angry about the world. Um, Honestly, certain elements of this book I am still skeptical of. Just giving it a critical review. Again, this whole thing about trusting in the world to come to you and stuff like that. Let's be honest. Really bad things happen to good people, and you're going to have to take that and move on and push forward and still succeed. Um, will this whole mindset of the whole universe is helping me succeed, will that always hold true? And is that the best mindset when you're doing all this great stuff, you're helping good people, uh, you're doing all these things ethically, and then something horrible happens, like you get your leg chopped off, or you get a critical illness, or you lose a loved one, or something like that? I don't think. I think I'm more so on the lines of, uh, Charlie Munger's philosophy about how, you know, you have to accept that bad things happen to good people, but that's okay. You take it in stride and you still move on and you still succeed. Um, so I'm more along those lines. However, I have not completely discounted this advice. I do think there's some merit in it, and there's fairly little downside to me adopting this and seeing if it helps towards my success. So I'm it's hard to do, but I'm going to try and start instilling it into my daily routine of the universe conspiring to help me succeed. And I think it's one of those things where you can believe it even if it's not true. Because guess what? Maybe that's not true. Probably it isn't. Probably it isn't, because guess what? There's a lot of bad people out there who are mean and may try and backstab you or scam you. But with this mindset, I think it will just switch your focus and your belief and how you view things, so that you don't let this get in your. I don't know. I don't know why it works. I'm trying to rationalize it. I'm just gonna test it out, and hopefully it works. See ya.